Hey, hello, good evening, everyone. Okay, great. So, have you started with React? Means I know some of you have submitted assignments. So you have started with React basics, right? In the last live session, I have given a basic introduction of React. Means how React works, and React's how the component work. And there I have also shown one way to make an external network call, right? So there are more than one way to make a network call, but I have shown one that day. Okay, and later whenever you will learn more about React, the React hooks, the React context, and when the Redux part will to come into the picture, then you will see there are several ways, different ways will come up. Okay, and that is it. So how much you have completed? uh, state state and prop, is it done? Let me know in the chat. States and props. State and prop done. Okay. Okay, so you have studied. So props, I think it is clear, right? I have also given the example in the last session, right? So how props, what are props, and how you can use props to transfer data from one component to the child component, right? And the state, you have understood what is state. State is something which is you can say it represents the current state. Again, it may become ambiguous, but yes, it's a little bit confusing because state is something which represents the current state of the component, current behavior of a component. Okay, so after the props and state, have you studied the life cycle methods? Because nowadays using the life cycle methods is something which you can avoid, but in some tricky cases where you have to implement a class-based component, there it will come up in picture. Normally nowadays we do all of the components that we write are normally all functional components. Functional components are very easy to write. There is a simple JavaScript function which has a return something, which every component has to return some sort of UI, right? So functional components has a return method, and you can export that function and make it available for use in other component as well. Okay, so that part is done. Then after that, what is there? And there it comes to the form. Okay, so have you created in form? Right, you have already created form in the assignment 5, right? Yes. Okay, so have you used any library to create a form, or you have just used simple text field and then uh, okay, use Bootstrap? Okay, fine. Then for network call, we have already learned about the Axios, right? Using Axios, I have shown in the last session that you can make the GET request, and using Axios you can also make the POST request, put request, delete request, everything, right? So that part is done. So after that, the very important thing comes, means this React hooks was introduced in, I think, in React version 16. Okay, so from React 16 onwards, React hooks came into the picture, which made it which made the lifecycle methods available inside the functional components. Okay, like in the lifecycle method, sorry, in the class based components, we have the lifecycle methods like component did mount, component will mount, or should component receive props. Okay, so that kind of lifecycle method is available inside the functional component. Okay, and what are those hooks we will learn about today. All right, so hooks is something which you have to use inside a component, and there is no specific way, I mean, or no specific space where you can use it. Means there is no special function or anything like that, but yes, you have to import hooks in your component, like the use state hook, or the use effect hook, or there is a use ref hook, there is a use context hook. Okay, so that is there. So today I will talk about React hooks, and then maybe in the next session I will talk about React context, and then what is Redux. Okay, so Redux is another important topic which I think you have to cover in this short duration, whatever you have. Okay, and guys, from this week onwards, we will start working on your final project, right? So whatever final project I have assigned to you, so you have to start working with their UI part. Okay, so what is your task for this week? So stay tuned for that. I will explain that task at the end of today's session. Okay, so are you ready to start, guys, to learn more about React hooks? Today we will start with React hooks. Okay, so let's see. Let's take a quick fundamentals about React hooks. So here I will talk about few basic hooks which we will use, which you will use in day-to-day basis whenever you will work on any normal React component. So very first hook that is being used, that is use state. I think use state is something which I have shown in the last session, in the last session's live coding. So there use state is something, it is a function that lets you to use state in a functional component. Okay, so in case of class-based component, there is a constructor inside which you can define the state. But in these functional components, there is there is nothing called constructor because this is not an class-based component, right? So here, if you want to use the state, you have to use this use state hook. Okay, so how to use state hook? I will show with proper example today. Maybe last day I have used that. Means I have defined a use state, but I haven't explained it in detail. Okay, but today I will give a detailed explanation of what is what. Okay, then second thing which is very important in our context, because day to day we have to do some network call, say on whenever the page will load, at that time we have to make a network call, or if say there is a drop down option or there is a search field, whenever user will type on the search field, then we have to make the network call. So how that will happen? For that we will use this use effect hook. Use effect hook is a function that lets you to do something like lifecycle method in a functional component. Okay, then the next part is the use ref. Use ref lets you to create a reference function in a component, and another thing is there, that is the that is use context, which helps us to define context and use context in our functional components. So what is context? Maybe we are not aware about that at this point, but on the next session, whenever I will talk about context, there I will explain about the context related hooks. Okay, and here what I have written here is hooks are a way to write reusable code instead of writing more classic techniques like inheritance. Okay, so there are some basic hooks and there are some additional hooks you can use. Some of the basic hooks are use state, like whatever I said, use state, use effect, use context. These are few basic hooks which we will use in day-to-day basis. And there are some additional hooks like use reducer, use callback, use memo, use ref, use layout effect, use debug value, use imperative handle. So these are a few additional hooks which we will use maybe once in 100 times. I mean, if 100 times we will use these hooks, maybe we will use these hooks only one time. Okay, use ref is something which you can use to reference any DOM element, like in JavaScript or CSS. What we have learned, we have different we can create reference like using the IDs and classes. So similar thing we can do here using this use ref hook. Okay, so we'll learn about that later. Okay, so let's start with the use state hook first. Okay, so I think there Shahid has asked one question. In React, which functionality is effective, a function or classes? Effectiveness is same, Shahid. So both of them are compiled into one single code. Okay, whether you write a class-based component or you write a functional component. So whenever React transpiles or Babel transpiles that, it becomes something. The resultant code becomes same. Okay, it is the ease of it is for ease of use, means while we are writing the code, at that time if we are writing using a functional component, it becomes it is a most preferred one and it becomes easy. It saves some time. Okay, the same thing you can write using the class based component. That is fine, that is up to you. Yeah. Okay, so why people are split into class and functional based components? So different use cases are there. Maybe there are some certain use case which will occur where these hooks are not sufficient to handle the use case. In those cases, in those scenarios, we need these function, we need this class-based component. Okay, so let's start with the use state hook. Okay, so to explain about the use state hook, let me create a new project and let me share my code. So are you interested in looking at with the example? Means yes. Okay, so I will give you example. Let me generate a new project and then I will I'll show you. Okay, so we will create a new project called npx create react app, and then say react hooks. Let's open the code. I think this is the vanilla react server which is running at localhost 3000. Okay, so let's review the code once. This is our app.js file, and we will play with this app.js only here. So let's remove all of the code that is written here. We don't need anything. Okay, so here only we will define all our hooks. All right, so let's give a title. Let's give a title of intro to hooks. Yes, it is coming now. It's visible, right? Guys, it is visible, right? Okay, okay, great. So let me go back to my presentation. Okay. So I think it is visible, and yes, I think this is better. So to use the use state hook, first you have to import it from the React. Okay, so I will remove this part, and so I will import React from React. Right, this is a very basic thing that you have to do. Now to use a use state hook is already defined inside React. Okay, so you can you just start typing, you will get the option here, use state, right? It is giving properly. Okay, so use state hook. So here you can see here my editor is giving a definition of this function. Okay, so how it works, how the use state hook works, we will look into it. But let me first define a use state hook, then I will explain. Okay, so const say my name. Okay, set my name. So here we will use this use state hook. So initially, so we will keep. Okay, so this is my hook. Okay, my use state hook. So now let's understand what we have written here before this hook. So guys, is it visible to all of you? Right, I guess the font size is okay. Okay, so here we are defining a constant. Okay, so in this constant here you can see we have given an array like syntax. Okay, so the first thing is this part is the name of the state. This first part, like my name, is the name of the state we are defining here. Okay, so or you can see the diagram here. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Okay, let's do it like active index, and we will make it like set index. Okay, so we will do the same like whatever he has given in the presentation. So this part is called the piece of state, means this piece of information that we want to keep. Like we can print this value here inside this here inside this console log, or we can also print the value like active index. active index is the active index. Okay, something like that. So in my okay, there is some error. What is it? Sorry. Oh, sorry. Console.log. Yes. Yes. So active. So here I'm getting this active index text, but after that there is nothing. It is printing. Okay. So let's understand this thing. So the first part is the piece of state. The second part is a function to change this piece of state. Okay. So if I have to change the value for this piece of state, then I have to use, or I have to call this function. Okay. Now after that, there in the third part, here I am defining the initial value for this piece of state. Like if I give say the active index is 10. If I would go to my application, here you can see the active index is 10, right? So here you are getting. So now, so why I am writing this syntax like this? Okay, this is because this use state function, the use state function that is given by the use state, it gives the response it gives. I am just restructuring the response, and here I'm taking the values, I'm assigning the values to it. Okay, so the response from or the return value from this use state function or use state hook, it gives us the name of the value of the state, and then it also returns the function to change the state. Okay, so if I would not define it something like that, so let's comment out this line and let's copy it. And I can also tell like say uh, so active index state. Okay, so if I would console log this active index state right now. Okay, so let's go and check the console. As you can see, it has given an array. So inside this array, the array's first value is the initial value that I have assigned to the function. And the second thing, the second array element is a function, right? Whatever I have written here, the array second element is a function which I can call to change the value. Okay, so that is why this is a shorthand syntax in that we can write in ES6. This is more of a ES6 syntax which you can write. So from the first value, as you can see, the first value is the value of this state where I have assigned this initial value 10. And the second thing, the second value of the array is a function to change the state. Now let's imagine, so let's remove this all of these things and make it active. So now you might tell how I will change this state of value. Okay, how I will change this state value. So let's define one button here, like button. Okay, so inside this button, increment. Okay, so we will define two button. One is increment, one is decrement. Okay, so here inside this increment button, we can write say on click. We can write a on click method. Okay, so here inside this on click method, what we can do is we can define a function like const handle on click or handle increment. Which will set the current active index, say active index plus 1. Okay, so similar thing we can do for handle decrement, handle decrement. So handle increment, similar thing we can do on click, we can handle the decrement. Okay, so let's start. So as you can see, the increment is working and Similarly, the decrement, I think it will work if I do minus. Yes. Yes. So the initial value is 10. If I would increment I press the increment, the value is incrementing. If I would press the decrement, the value is decrementing. Right? It is working, right? So is there any confusion with this example? No. Great, right? So this is the state and this is the function to change the state. Okay, so for any event we can call this function to change this piece of state. So now the rule is, if we would change this value, so on active index value change, what will happen? The component, the whole component will re-render. Okay, so that means whenever this value is changing, this whole component is re-rendering. Okay, so increment, decrement, whenever we are doing, so that we can see here on the React profile. So here I will show you how it is working. Increment, decrement. Okay, so yes, as you can see, there are multiple renders that are happening. So there are 4 renders that has happened, and for every increment, decrement, the app component is re-rendering. So for re-rendering, it is taking some time, like 1 millisecond, 0.8 millisecond, 1 millisecond, something like that. Okay, so that is how the use state hook works. So let me go back to my presentation once again. So now we have a similar class-based component kind of a implementation. If we would do a class-based component, there we have to define the state, like state is equal to active index is 0, and then we have to do something like to get the value, to print the value, we can directly call this active index in our code, right? So we can directly use this active index constant in our code to print the value. So here in this case, we have to do, in case of class-based component, we have to do this dot state dot active index. Okay, and to set the value, means what I am doing it here, like to set the value, we can call this function. We can call this function, and then there we can pass the new value. Okay, so this is the difference between the class-based component on the left-hand side and the functional component on the right-hand side. Okay, I think this is done. Now the next thing is the use effect hook. Use effect hook is something which allows us to, which allows us to write the lifecycle method like a behavior inside the functional component. So how we will be able to use that? We will know here. Okay. Now the use effect hook. You can take a note for this one, because this part is very basic and very important whenever you will define the use effect hook. So the use effect hook is a function that allows component use something like lifecycle method, like whatever I have already mentioned at the beginning of today's session. Okay, so now we have to configure this hook to run some code automatically in one of the 3 scenarios. When is using this use effect hook, okay, we can run some piece of code, okay, automatically in 3 scenarios. So what are the 3 scenarios? When the first one is when the component renders for the first time only. Say you want to render your data for the first time only. Say in your weather application, right, whatever you have designed earlier, you want to only show the weather info of the current city only. So there is no search option or nothing like that. So the render will happen one time only. Means one time you will make a network call, you will render the value there, and that will happen for the very first time. There is nothing else there. So that is the first case. Second part is that when the component is rendered for the first time, and whenever it re-renders, then also it will execute that piece of code. Okay, so how that will happen, I will show you. Okay, and the third part is when the component will be re-rendered for the first time, and whenever it re-renders, when some piece of data is changed, some specific piece of data is changed. Okay, so how so what are the three use cases? I will show you with proper example. Okay, so have you taken the note for these 3 points? For the first time only, for the first time, and whenever it re-renders, and for the first time, whenever it re-renders with when some piece of data is changed. Okay, done. So let's go back to our terminal. Let's go back to our editor. Okay, so what is the life cycle method? So someone has asked, what is the life cycle method in React? Great, good question. Okay, so what happens in React? So whenever a component, you create a component, right? So you will write a component day in and day out, right? So what will happen whenever a component is being used inside a UI components? There are different stages for every component, like whether the component is ready to render, means ready to render. Okay, whether the component will re-render, whether the component is being removed from the viewport. Okay, or whether the component will mount on the viewport. Okay, so there are different stages for every component. Okay, so like let me take you through the example. Wait a minute. Yes, so adding a lifecycle methods to the class. Is it visible, guys? I think it is visible, right? Okay, so this is a class based component, so you can understand, right? So it is a class, something you have to define a class like class clock. It extends the react.component, and there inside this constructor you have to define state, like whatever we did inside this return function. Like this here I have defined a state like this, like const active index, set active index, use state, and there I have defined a default value. Okay, but here in this case, you have to define it like something like this. So there is a constructor. So here you have to define the state, something like this dot state equals, here the state name is date, which is equivalent to this active index. And there is default value. The default value is new date. Okay, so let's create a lifecycle method. Sorry, let's create a class-based component. Then you will understand it more. Like, so let's define a class component like app class, appclass.js. Okay, so here we will import React from React, right? So class app class extends React dot component. Okay, so whenever we are defining a class based component, one method or one function you have to define, that is a render function. So render function is mandatory. If you are not defining any render function, then you will get an error, like you are not your component has no output. So render function is something similar to the return method what we have inside the functional component. Okay, so here inside so here we will export this class based component, like export default the app class. Okay, so we will include this app class in our component, the app.js file, import app class from app class, and here we will import it here in the bottom section. Okay, so we will do a similar thing like whatever we have done here. So here we will define a constructor. Okay, so here we have access to the props, and here we will define a state. This dot state equals active index So active index, so I'm assigning a default value that is 10. All right, and there we will return some say h4 tag. Okay, so inside render function we have to write a return method. Sorry, I forgot that part. Here we will take a div. Inside that we will keep this code. Okay, done. So now what are the different lifecycle methods? Like we have the say component will mount. Okay, so let's do a console log in every lifecycle method, then you will understand it better. Like component will mount. There is another lifecycle method like component did mount. Okay, and let's do a one console log here inside the constructor. Okay, so all our console logs are ready. Now let's go back to our application and let's check what is happening. So as you can see, here we have a constructor, right? This constructor is giving me the output first. Then the component will mount is getting called. Okay, and then the component did mount is getting called. Now what we used to do is that we used to make the network call from here. Means before the component mounts, we used to do a network call from here. Okay, so that was the difference. See, from till 2019 I used to follow this approach, like either here or here we used to do the network calls. Okay, so there are several advantages and disadvantages of this approach, but nowadays, as you can see, if we omit this part, you can very easily do the same thing using the hooks, right? So like here we have defined our state and the function to change the state in a single line. So here, this is only the initial value for the state. We have not defined how to change the state, and those things will take some time. Okay, so I guess you understood the basics. There are several other component lifecycle methods like component will unmount. So whenever this component, say there is a link in there are certain links in this UI. Okay, it's like a navigation bar. So if you click another link, say in LinkedIn, you have a profile page, you have a news feed page, you have a home page. So if you click different pages, this component will unmount, right? So in that case, this component will unmount, will trigger. Okay, so we have this kind of life cycle methods here. All right, and at the very end with this render function, so if the render is something which is also a life cycle method, so this is something which gets called at the very end. Okay, so done. Is there anything I guess I should go back to my primary implementation. Okay, great. So let's check. Let's close this thing. Now let's define, let's use the use effect hook. Okay, so we have imported this use effect hook. So now let's define our use effect hook. Okay, so to do that, we can simply use the use effect hook. So now here we have an arrow function where we have to do something like a life cycle method. Okay, so here inside this piece of block, we can write something which will execute on some specific on these three scenarios which I have mentioned in the previous slide. Like whenever the component is rendered for the first time. Okay, so let's do a console log, console.log. Component rendered with use effect. Okay, component rendered with use effect. So what are the three scenarios? So here the three scenarios are: component will render, means that this piece of code will be triggered, means this piece of code, whatever we will write inside this block, this piece of code will be triggered for first time only, or second thing is first time or whenever it re-renders, means in every render it will trigger, and third thing for the first time and whenever it re-renders, or when some piece of data is changed. Okay, so for that the second argument is very important. So this use state, so the use effect function has, so let me decode this function once again, use effect. Okay, so this use effect function has two things. First, what to execute, and second is when to execute. Okay, so what to execute, this is the function, what to execute function. So like whatever we are doing it here, like this is the arrow function, right? We can also replace it something like a normal function syntax, like function. This will also work. Okay, so this is the first argument, means what to execute function, this part. And second, here after comma we have to define when to execute. So this second argument is very important. This will define when this piece of code will execute. Okay, so in this time, in this second argument, if we give only this empty third braces, then it will run in the initial render. It will run in the initial render only. It will not run in any time, any other time. Okay, so let's see how it works. Yes, so if we refresh this page, as you can see, this code is executing, right? It means the component rendered with use effect. Now if we do this increment decrement, this whole component is re-rendering, but this piece of code is not executing. So our step one is done. So run on initial render. So are you getting it? Are you getting the point? Are you getting the point? So what to execute function, when to execute. What to execute is something where we can do anything, like we can do a network call, we can do some calculation, anything you want, you can do that. The second part, the second argument is important. It defines when to execute it. So if you give this empty array, then it will think you want to execute this piece of, means you want to execute this piece of code whenever it renders for the very first time. Okay, okay, great. So that means it is rendering only on the very first render, and it is not re-rendering anywhere, means it is not executing for any other re-renders. Let's check what is the second thing. So if we give nothing, then it will run in initial render and it will run in every render. Let's see. So let's remove these third braces. Let's remove it and let's go back to our application. Now as you can see, it has rendered for the very first time. Now whenever we will do an increment and decrement, you can see the count is increasing, right? That means this thing is rendering. So for the initial render and for every other re-render, this one is working. Got the point? For the first render and for every render, this piece of code will execute. Okay, done. Now, okay, so now let's define our text field here. Now define a text field, like input of type, say text, and on change. So input on change, event, handle input change. Okay. Handle input change is something which I have to define. So I have so here I will pass this event. Sorry, event. So here I will define this function const handle input change. Okay, so let's define it as an arrow function. This is the event, and let's do a console log here for this event dot target dot value. Okay, so what I have done, let me explain. So here let's give a line break. Yes. Let's give a placeholder, otherwise this thing is makes no sense. Let's give a placeholder like type search. Okay, so here we have given something like this. So whenever, what will happen, so anything you type here, like search by say React. So whenever we are searching, you can see the console log is working. Means, so whenever the input field is changing, then this method is getting triggered, and here we are printing its value, that is event.target.value. Whenever this event is occurring, I'm printing the value. Okay, so now let's let's say if I want to show this value here, I want to show the value here. How are you do that? How I would do that? See, if I have to show the value here, a similar thing like whatever we did for this active index, we have to do something like this, like a search string, and we will define a new state like search string, and we will define a new function called set search string. The initial value is null. Okay, and here we will use this function. Okay, so instead of console log, we will set the search string to set search string, and we will print this value here. We will replace this comment. We will print the value here, like you are searching for this. Let's do a line, give a line break here. Done. So now if I would type something like React, right, this thing is working, right? Whatever I'm typing, it is getting React.js is coming properly. Now, as you can see, now let's do the magic. Now, the first thing in this use effect hook, so if I give the empty array, then it will work all for the first render only. So if I would give something, if my state is changing, if I'm searching with any value, it doesn't matter. If I would remove this empty array, then it will render for everything. So let's do a refresh. If I would increment or decrement, this thing is re-rendering. If I am searching with anything, this thing is also re-rendering, right? So these two implications are working. Now let's say I want this code to execute whenever someone searches on the text bar. Like I want this to work. Means say you have in your application, you have a product search feature. So if someone start typing here, then we make a network call and we want to execute that code. But you do not want to execute the code whenever someone clicks these buttons. Okay, there may be 10, 15, 20 button in your UI, but I do not want to execute the code, the same piece of code on this button click. So how I will do that? So for that, the third part is important. The third part or the third condition is it will run on the first render and it will run whenever some specific data changes. So now I have to define, say, I want this search to work whenever someone types some value here, not for the increment and decrement, right? So how I will do that? That means whenever this input field value change, only then I will change, I will execute this code. Okay, maybe I'm repeating the same thing again and again. So how I will do that? So here I will use this search string and I will pass it here. Okay, so here I'm saying instead of giving this empty array or the empty array, I'm just passing this value. So I'm saying whenever this search string changes, you execute this piece of code. Let's go and check. So for increment and decrement, this thing is not working. Means this code executed for the first render, but for increment and decrement, this thing is not working. But if I do search, yes, search is working, right? The console log is working. Here I can make a network call. You can do a network call. With the search string. With the search string, you can make a network call to get some value, right? You can make some external API call, like whatever you have done in the weather application. So you can just pass the city's name and you can show the weather information here. Understood? What are the 3 conditions you can do whenever you are working with React hooks? Use effect hook. Is it clear, guys, to everyone? Others are getting my point, what I'm trying to explain here. Okay. Okay. Okay then. So is there any confusion? So you can easily make a network call, right? So are you confident about making a network call here using Axios? You just make a network call and search. Say you just do implement these weather widget. You just implement the weather widget using the React. So here inside this use effect hook, you make the network call. So the beauty is that, say we have another text field. We can also like say instead of search string, so we have search string true. Okay, let's say there is another search field or there is another filter. So what will happen? We can also, as this is an array, we can pass multiple values here. So if the search string 2 also changes, then also this piece of code will execute. Like what happens in Flipkart or Myntra, like we have a search option on the top, we have a filter button on the right, on the left hand side, right? So whenever someone searches on the left, on the top section, so the search works. But whenever someone clicks the check boxes on the left hand side for the filters, then also the search work, right? So say this one is a search string and this one is a, say, filter value. So say if the search changes or the filter changes, this piece of code will execute. So filter, set filter, initial value is null. So if the search string changes or the filter changes, you make a network call. I think it should be crystal clear by now. Okay. Okay, great. So these are the 2 functions or 2 lifecycle methods which we'll use day in, day out. So yes. So that is about it, because these are the few basic hooks which we'll use normally, and other hooks is something which you can learn in that course. Maybe they will cover some of them. Yes, I think Pratham is saying it is loud and clear. Okay, great. So now it's time for some declarations on final project. So have you come? So React hooks was complete, right? So do you have any question? Then you can let me know on the chat, so I will answer. Okay, but let me discuss about the final project. So today we will start with some work on final project. Means this week's assignment will be something which means we have to do something on the final project using React. So if you have not started React yet, please go and start learning it, because maybe just give in every day, just give an hour or 2 hour and start React. Okay. So what you have to do, there are a few tasks line up. Start your UI using React.js. So now you might ask, sir, where should I start? So your application is ready, right? So what application you have got? Let me know in the chat. Which application you have got? Which clone application you have got? Amazon clone, NetMeds clone, 99 acres. Yes, Ghana.com, Cowin, Swiggy. Okay. Okay. So you might ask, sir, from where should I start? So you start by designing your landing screen. So whatever landing screen is there in actual website, you start with that one. You start developing with the landing screen using the React component. So to do create a React project, yes, I think it would be better if you can create a private repository on GitHub. Do create a private repository and give only access to me and the coach that you have. Okay, and so I will update the assignment submission form what I have. So there we will share the link for your GitHub repository, and there are certain other things like where the API will be deployed. So those things I will clarify in coming days. But you start with your landing screen. Is it clear, guys? For everyone, is it clear? So from where you have to start, whatever applications you have, you start with the landing screen. So if there is a search bar, you start with that. If there is some carousel, means image slider, you start with that. If there are some certain cards or anything like that, you start with that. Okay, so you can also use the images that is there present on the live site. There is no harm in it. Okay, so you are doing everything for the learning purpose. Yes, so for the time being, you can hard code the props that are coming on the screen. Okay, and remember one thing, guys, whenever you are working on this React project and whenever you are building this landing screen, do not create one single component and put every code inside that. It is not yours one single in large HTML file. Okay, so you create small piece of UI component which you think you apply your mind, you apply your intelligence, and you think which component should be reusable, means which component I can use in other places as well. So you break down those components into smaller components and you combine those components together, and then you make a project. Okay, sir, someone is asking, sir, we will make a proper component structure. Yes, of course, you have to make a proper component structure, and I will give you the API. For the starter, for to start, I will give the API. But for now, for this week, you do not have to make any API call. Again, I'm repeating, you do not have to make any API call. You just go through the basic landing page. That's all. You just break down the landing page into several components and you start with the UI. Okay, and by the end of this week, the UI, the landing screen UI should be ready. You also send the screenshot of your UI in the assignment submission form. Okay, so you can design, you have to design, of course, you have to design your own React components. Who will give you that otherwise? G1. Sir, so how to add UI using React? So how to add UI means here you can so you can use this material UI. I think if my screen is visible, material UI is something which is very popular and you will get support for most of the components. So my recommendation is material UI. This is a very standard one, and use their starter kit. Okay, so installation is also very easy, and they have tons of thousands of components already built in. Okay, from autocomplete to the buttons, checkboxes, forms, ratings, sliders, switches, text field, everything is there already. Avatar, chip, badge, icons, list, table. Okay, so you start with the MUI. So previously it was known as material UI. So I'm sharing the link. I'm sharing the link here on the chat. You just go through this website and you start using material UI. Okay, so the first landing screen will take time, but once it is ready, so your project is good to go. Okay, so if you can prepare your landing screen, your project is, I think it is 20%, 30% ready. After that, you don't have, you only have to add functionalities, and you have to pull some data from API, and you just have to replace that data with the dynamic one, or the UI with the dynamic data. All right, so this is the task for today or this week. Design your landing screen using React.js. Okay, so that is it, guys. That is all for today. One more question: is there any quiz happening this week? Of course, this quiz will happen on React.js. So last week I have skipped the quiz, but this week the quiz will happen on Thursday itself. Okay, so Meet is asking one question. Our program is of 8 weeks, and this is the 7th week. And in coming week or so, the will be the last week. So there is nothing hard and fast. Okay, so as soon as I do not cover all the topics, I will continue to take the live classes. And I think in the promotional content, I said that I will conduct 10 live classes. Okay, so this is the 7th one. I guess 3 classes are there. At least 2 classes are there. One on Redux and one on the context, and the final one is there also. Okay, so we will go by the date, like by the mid of January, like January 10, 20, 15 or 20th, we will try to complete your final project, and then we will take some time to review it, and by the first week of Feb, we will give you the certificates. Means those who will submit the final project, they will get the certificate. All right, so final project submission is very important in this case. You have to submit, you have to give your effort, and then only you'll be able to eligible for that. All right, so that is it, guys, for today. So see you there on next Thursday on the quiz session. Bye bye.